as the Senate constituted itself into an impeachment court for the trial of Vice President Sara Duterte, a motion to dismiss the impeachment complaint against the Vice President was manifested by Senator Judge Ronald de la Rosa and seconded by Senator Judge Bongo. The motion is questioning the legality of the said impeachment complaint. We talk about its implications tonight, and joining us is former Supreme Court Associate Justice Antonio Carpio. Good evening to you, Justice Carpio, and welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening, ladies. Good evening to our viewers.
Right now, the Senate is suspended, the Senate, or rather the impeachment court, but they are debating this manifestation by Senator Bongo to dismiss the complaint altogether. Will the Senator judges put that into a vote? And what is the legality of this motion?
Well, there is a pending motion by Senator Judge Bato to dismiss the case. They're discussing it, and my opinion is that that will be unconstitutional because the Constitution requires the Senate as an impeachment court to hear and decide the case forthwith, to decide the case, and there is no provision there which says that they can dismiss it without a trial. It says shall forthwith proceed with the trial and then decide the case. So they should just hear the case, call the witnesses, get the documents presented, and then decide it to dismiss, to acquit or convict. But they cannot make a judgment even before hearing a single witness or seeing a single document. That will be grave abuse of discretion. I mean, that's a denial of due process to the prosecution.
Justice, the Senate, is this correct? The Senate just constituted itself as an impeachment court and has not yet convened right now as we speak. What is the status?
Well, it has constituted itself as an impeachment court. They are now discussing a motion presented to the impeachment court. So in effect, it has convened, but there is no trial yet.
All right.
Okay,
Go ahead, Sean.
I want to clarify because right before we went into this break, Justice, si Alan Peter Cayetano ay nagsuggest for Senator Bato precisely because of the reasons you cited, that it would be unconstitutional. He suggested instead that Senator Bato amend his motion and to remand the articles back to the House. How is the Constitution on that move?
Well, for me, it's also unconstitutional. There is no provision in the Constitution that they can remand it. They have to proceed with the trial forthwith and then make a decision.
So it's
I just don't see the reason for remanding it.
Can we go to the root of the motion or manifestation by Senator Bato, which is there were infirmities in the impeachment complaint tackled before the House, meaning the one-year prohibition was somehow violated by the House of Representatives?
Well, that should be brought up by the defense, by the impeached official, by VP Sara. The judges themselves cannot raise that because they are supposed to be impartial. They should not. That is favoring one side already. They're teaching or actually acting as counsel for VP Sara. They should allow VP Sara to raise that in his comment or answer.
Okay, but Justice, who can really decide on whether the one-year ban was violated? Because Senator Bato did cite a ruling by Chief Justice Renato Puno in Francisco versus House, which said that the Senate can decide the question of whether the one-year ban has been violated or not because it has primary jurisdiction over the case.
Well, the impeachment court can decide, but that can be questioned before the Supreme Court if it violates the Constitution.
But the Supreme Court has actually been very clear in its decisions that there was no violation. I mean, these
No, not in this
precedents are
case.
cited.
Yeah, no, not in this case. That has not been ruled upon by the Supreme Court yet, whether the one-year prohibition has been violated. There was a case before, in the case of CJ, Chief Justice Davide, on that issue. But this is factual, because whether the one-year prohibition has been violated or not is a matter of fact. In fact, I don't know yet because I haven't seen the documents. And that's precisely why Cayetano is saying we cannot decide that now because we don't have the documents here. We haven't seen any of the documents.
So in which case, am I hearing you right, Justice, that they should just start the trial so that the defense of the Vice President can just lay these out, these arguments out, at ilalabas na lahat ng
Yes.
dokumento?
Yes, all of these objections they're raising should be raised by the impeached official, by VP Sara's lawyers. Why are they acting like counsel for VP Sara?
But Justice, another topic of debate is whether this can cross over to the 20th Congress. And one senator even floated the question earlier, what assurance is there that this impeachment complaint can cross to the 20th Congress?
Well, my personal opinion is that it can cross over because the Constitution says that public officials shall at all times be accountable to the people at all times. That means a legislative calendar cannot extinguish accountability. At all times means it can cross over the succeeding Congresses. And that has been the case in the U.S. And I think that's very obvious, but
Oops. Justice
Anybody-
Carpio. All right. We lost you for a while there. Please,
I guess the last
yes,
sentence?
the
Yeah,
last sentence. May you
Yes. Well,
repeat that for us?
My personal opinion is that it can cross over, and I think that's the opinion of many people also. But those who don't agree to that can question any decision of the impeachment court if it dismisses it, or that issue actually will happen only will come out only when the 20th Congress will convene, whether they will accept a crossover. Because if they don't accept a crossover, or they accept it, we really don't know.
Justice, with regard to the House prosecutors, now, while we know that the Senate is, the senators have 6-year terms and they cross over by halves, it's not the same case for the House of Representatives. What happens to the prosecutors, right? Can they just simply carry over, or does that have to restart? I'm wondering about the technicalities here because I've been seeing some opinions also that people are questioning whether or not the House prosecutors still have the mandate after they adjourn sine die.
Well, the Speaker of the House will choose who will, if the old prosecutors will continue or if they will be changed. Some of them did not win re-election, so they will have to be changed. But it's the House will have to decide whether to continue with those prosecutors or not. But they will have to send prosecutors, whether new or old or a combination. It's up to them, but they have the authority to send their prosecutors.
Justice, just like us, I'm sure you were glued to the goings-on at the Senate. What did you make of the session today?
Well, it looks like that they're trying to act. Many of them were acting like lawyers for VP Sara by saying it should be dismissed. They are raising objections that should be raised by VP Sara. Why don't they just wait for the comment of VP Sara and then act on that?
And what about senators who didn't don their robes?
Well, their reasons were that they didn't have the robe. So I don't think that would affect their status as senator judges. It's a matter of it's just a ceremonial dress anyway. But they took their oath. That means they assumed the obligations and duties of senator judges.
Let me ask a hypothetical question here, Justice. What if the Senate does vote and they vote to somehow remand the impeachment back to the House, or they vote to dismiss altogether? What happens then?
Well, if let us say the Senate now, as an impeachment court, will not continue. do anything other than continue. Then the prosecutors or any taxpayer can go to the Supreme Court to question the action of the impeachment court on the basis of a violation of the Constitution.
And Justice, well, the basis of this recommendation to remand it to the House is mainly because they're pointing out that the House dragged its feet in the first 3 impeachment complaints. They're saying na they took their time. Sinabi pa nga po kahapon ni Senator Cheese Escudero na pabanjing-banjing yung House. What do you make of that, of them throwing this back at the House? Go ahead,
Well,
Justice.
that will make sense if there is no crossover. That will make sense if only the 19th Congress can hear the case, can decide the impeachment complaint. But there is a crossover, so even if they delayed it, it can continue into the next Congress. So it doesn't stop the impeachment.
Okay, so everything should proceed. Basically, the trial should still proceed, and that's still your stand, basically.
Yeah, because that's the command of the Constitution. Trial shall forthwith proceed. And there is actually a crossover because the Constitution says the public officer shall be responsible to the people at all times. In other words, regardless of Congresses ending or renewing, they are accountable to the people.
All right. Well, we thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much, Justice
Thank you also.
Antonio Carpio.
Yes. Thank